What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you an overview of my 2024 Husqvarna TE250. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So the main reason why I wanted to make this video is because when I was doing research on this particular bike, the TE250, there was absolutely no videos online, no reviews, no one's even talking about it. Everything's either on the TE150 or the TE300 or TE300 Pro. No one made any videos about the TE250. This was the spec that I was looking to get into straight off the bat. I came from a KTM 250 4-stroke SXF. I needed something more for hill climbs, more for technical riding, more for just trail riding in general. This was the perfect bike for me. Now, for reference, I'm 5'6", 150 pounds without gear, and I haven't set the sag or done any modifications to it other than pretty much protection and cosmetic, and this bike fits me perfect. Once I set the sag, this will probably be really dialed in terms of me being able to touch the ground a little bit better, but in general, this Husky is a little bit lower, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get into it. I wanted to get into the 250cc version because I didn't want to have to just be gunning it all the time with a 150, and I didn't really want all the power of the 300. I still wanted to be able to learn, get my technique dialed in, but still have plenty of power to get things done. Now, I'm not saying that the 150 wouldn't have done that, which it totally could have. It's a totally capable bike, but I'm just not like at a pro or just expert level to be doing crazy stuff with the clutch and all this stuff. This was actually recommended by Dirt Bike TV, was to either get the 250 or the 300. Considering that I'm a beginner level rider, I've only been riding for about a year, so this was the perfect bike for me. Again, no videos on the 250, just 150s and 300. And even the demand in general, aside from videos, demand in general, I got this at a little bit below sticker because the dealers were telling me that nobody was really looking at the 250s. They were all buying up the 300s and occasionally the 150s. No one was remotely interested in 250s. Luckily for me, that worked out because some people paid over sticker, they paid markups. I literally paid under sticker out the door for this bad boy. Now, again, 5'6", 155 pounds. I needed to get on a 2-stroke and a Husky because it's a smaller bike. The new generation 2024 seat height is a little bit shorter, so just in general, this fit me a little bit better. It's lighter and more maneuverable. I came from mountain biking, that's why I wanted to get on a dirt bike, and coming from the 4-stroke 250, that thing was a beast, especially because it's a KTM, so it sits higher and it was way heavier, just big and clunky and bulky. Just wasn't suitable for me and the type of riding that I was doing. This was way more suitable, especially the 2024 version, which the frame and just design and ergonomics is a little different. I jumped on a 2021 300, and that's what made me want to get a Husky. Just the ergonomics, the feel, just in general of the Husky is what made me want to jump on it. But this 2024 version is a whole new model. The frame is different. The seat height's a little shorter. 250, it's a little bit lighter. Yeah, overall, it was just a better bike choice for me. That's why I decided to go with the 250. Now, I've owned this thing since the end of October. I've absolutely loved this thing. No complaints. I'm about almost at the 30-hour mark since then, and I've absolutely loved this thing. Let's go ahead and give you guys a walk around and why I love this thing so much. All right, so as you can see right off the bat, this probably isn't the bike that you're normally used to seeing on the cover. You're used to seeing the white plastics, blue fork covers. That is because I wanted to preserve these beautiful, beautiful OEM factory graphics. Being a new rider and just knowing the type of riding that I do, I knew that these wouldn't be looking so good, and replacing these was probably going to be a pain or hard to find. So I decided to go for the gray radiator shrouds along with the gray fork covers, just because those are the areas that pretty much get jacked up the most and the areas that had actual graphics. So I just got gray, and then I got my graphics from SKDA. Came out really nice, super easy to put on. Other than that, these plastics, the front, the fender, the tail, these are pretty easily replaceable in terms of getting the stock OEM. Maybe not this, but I wasn't too concerned about this. I was even thinking about swapping this out, but this isn't like a crazy high impact area, so I wasn't too concerned about this. We'll give you guys a quick walk around of the bike. So Big Pro came with a kickstand, which I had a freaking KTM race bike. It did not have a kickstand, so having this is already a game changer. Big thing that I actually felt while riding as soon as I got this bike was this. rear fender kind of sticks out a little bit. So if you're leaning back, maybe coming down some stuff, or leaning back on a jump, or just you're leaning back in general, this pretty much hugs up on your calf / leg area, and it actually feels really good, really nice and comfortable. It makes you feel nice, sturdy, and planted and reinforced. Moving on, did come with a factory skid plate, which is really nice and really helpful. This was missing on my race bike, and right off the bat, this thing had saved my butt a few times just from scraping. One thing that I did add was this linkage guard. It's from Enduro Engineering. I literally had this for maybe like a month just sitting here. Didn't want to put it on. Finally, I was doing this rocky little creek bed, and there's a ton of rocks, and I noticed that I was almost about to hit my linkage. So after that, put the linkage guard on, and sure enough, right after I put it on, this thing was already taking some hits. So better this $40-ish piece of plastic covering the linkage than your actual linkage, which would be more expensive. So that's one thing I did to it. Again, the radiator shroud, the decal, fork covers, decals here, front disc guard. This is just in a Chirby's disc guard. It comes with a little insert as well in here, this little metal piece. Shoe covers, fork shoe covers. This I learned the hard way because on my old bike I freaking nailed the crap out of these on a big rock, and I didn't want that to happen again, so I knew that I was going to put these on straight away. Again, this is an area that takes a beating normally, so definitely had those. Stock tires. The light is pretty bright. I can definitely see why people upgrade to Baja Designs. I was doing some night riding. Also, this isn't really adjusted, so you do need to adjust it, but this is, I believe, an LED, which is really, really nice. I'm not even gonna lie, but I can definitely see why people upgrade to the Baja Designs, but I like this. I mean, you can't really go wrong. It's a good stock light. Handguards, as you can tell, they're just plain. Already kind of taking a beating, but no worries, these are just replaceable, or you can do the wraparounds. I'm not a wraparound guy, I just haven't gotten around to doing that. I don't really want to at the moment. I'm enjoying these. As you can tell, again, taking a beating. One thing that I did do and learned the hard way from clipping my clutch lever on my KTM 4-stroke was moving the lever in. So this was normally way out here, and then this was all the way out there, causing the lever to kind of stick out. So when you drop it, obviously your lever is the thing that takes the brunt of the force. So moving your levers in, as you can tell, when you drop the bike, this is what's falling. This and the handguard normally take the beating, and having these a little bit loose, that way they can move around, that way your perch doesn't get jacked up. Control switch, there is a green and a white mode. One's more aggressive, one's a little softer, just depending on your riding. I've only been riding in the green map. I haven't really tried out the white. The white is a little bit mellower, gives you a smoother delivery of power. That's good for technical areas, maybe hillside starts, that sort of thing. So I haven't tried that out a whole lot, but the green map has been doing its job. Oil injected, so the 2-stroke oil goes into here. I've had to maybe fill it twice, and I didn't even get the warning light. I just threw some in there. Big tank, I believe it's 2.2 gallons, I want to say. KTM was 1.9 gallons, this is 2.2 gallons. So we got the left wing and then the right wing there. We got the bar pad that these new ones came with, and then the speedometer, odometer. As you can see here, got about 27.8 hours so far. Had it since late October. Forks, the suspension, something I do want to talk about, just because, again, I had a race motocross bike, and these, I believe, went back to spring forks, whereas my KTM was air forks. There is the shock in there. I believe that's where you do the adjusting. There might be some adjusting you do down in there. Yep, the little red area. For rebound and however stiff you want it. But right off the bat, I noticed this thing was amazing in terms of suspension. There were so many times where my KTM bucked me off and I couldn't make it through sections because it was so stiff and it was just throwing me, bucking me. This thing, right off the bat, as soon as I got it, I opened up the manual, I tuned the suspension how I wanted it. The rebound, the forks, those get tuned up here on both sides, and then as well as the bottom down in here. So as you can see in here, that dial. Again, those fork shoes coming in clutch, taking this, protecting all this. So highly recommend you guys get some of those. but tuned it up, and I set it just on regular stiffness. And that's because I just wanted to see how that would feel. And immediately I just felt that the suspension was so much softer and so much better for the type of riding I was doing. It absorbed everything. It felt like I was floating on a cloud pretty much. And that's on just the standard settings. I believe a few more clicks will give me like the softest settings. I haven't done that. I've been wanting to play with it, but I've just been having fun with this almost 30 hours deep with that suspension setup. And I don't feel that it's overly stiff or overly soft. Perfect for what I'm doing, type of riding I'm doing. Hitting little jumps here and there, nothing crazy. Definitely don't send it. I'm doing just like a hobby, but so far so good. Another thing that I did want to mention is this thing lugs, man. Like, this is a 250cc. The 300 will get you up anything with, regardless, you know. Same with the 150, but it just takes a little bit more maneuverability. And I mean, this 250, man, there's times where I'm barely on the throttle and I'm just trucking along going up a hill, and it gets me up. It does not stall or anything. It's so awesome. There's been a few times where I mess around with it trying to barely give it any revs to see if it'll stall out, and it does not. So this thing, the lugging capabilities of this thing is amazing. It's a 250. It gets the job done. If I just hit the power band going from first, second, third, and I just stay in the power band, third will get the job done. If I don't do that, second gear is more than enough for everything pretty much. And then obviously first gear will get you up regardless. And even if you like go super slow in first gear, this thing will get you up there. Second gear, you might stall out just depending on, you know, the steepness of the hill. But first gear, man, this thing's gonna lug and get you up anything you want. Brings me to my next point, which is the idle. So there is an idle screw here. I click it in every single time to cold start it. I've had no issues. Another thing that I did right away, was just from Facebook group tips, was set the idle on the idle screw, which is in there. Gave it a few turns, turned it to the point to where it wouldn't just turn off on me, because right when I bought the bike, that's what it was doing. It was kind of crappy and kind of scared me, because fouling spark plugs is a huge thing on this, apparently on these bikes, and that's due to the idle and the idle screw. I immediately set that, and it was good to go. I didn't have any issues, which I was super, super excited about. One thing I was worried about, I ordered 2 extra spark plugs and I carry them with me. I have no idea how the heck I would even get to the spark plug or even take it off and replace it, but I have those with me just in case that ever happened. So yeah, setting the idle, cold starting it every time, and I literally, the warm-up process is I have all my gear on, legit everything on. I punch in the cold start, I let it idle for a minute, and then I jump on it and slowly ride off for the maybe first 5 or so minutes until the radiator is warm to the touch with my gloves on. Until this is warm to the touch, then I can start to kind of push it. But I keep it in first, second gear, just slowly riding after that minute of just letting it cold start, and good to go. No issues there. Again, messing with the idle screw, just making sure your idle is appropriately set. You don't want it too much and you don't want it too little, or else it's going to keep dying on you. But you don't want it too high, because then that's going to cause it to quote unquote run rich and then spark a plug. So you kind of have to find that balance. I would recommend, as soon as you get it, to find that point for your bike and adjust that. Moving on, in terms of like the spark plug kind of issue, once you dial that in, you're going to be fine. Another big issue on all of these with 150, 250, and 350s is this tank. It is the dumbest tank design that there possibly could be. Literally, I want to say my second ride, I was so scared I thought I fouled my plug, because my bike completely shut off on me as I was riding home on a dirt road, fire road. It was getting dark on me, and I hadn't filled it up with gas. My dealer didn't give me a full tank for some reason, but I was just riding with what they gave me. This side of the wing was completely empty in terms of gas, and then this side was maybe down to here in terms of gas. And a huge issue is that the gas pump is back here, and it doesn't suck all that gas up. So it was probably down to here, you know, enough to plenty of gas. Just wasn't splashing into the pump area, so it completely shut off on me. I thought it was the plug, and then I remembered that in the Facebook group, people have been getting stranded. So immediately I started rocking it back and forth, compressing it with the front brake, causing it to go down, and then just shaking it back and forth. And that would actually bounce and splash some gas back into the tank, and it actually got me home. So I did that about 2 or 3 times, just bouncing it back and forth. rode as far as I could, then it would freaking die, and then I'd do that again, etc. But yeah, people were saying you just pop a wheelie, pop the front tire up, and splash some gas back there. At the time, I didn't really know how to do that, so kind of SOL. But I know Takomoto is currently working on a fix for that, but that's pretty much the only main issue that I'm scared of, other than flats. These tires are insanely good. As you can see, I have another tire here. They come with the Dunlop Geomax AT81s. So Dunlop Geomax AT81s, 110, 118. Amazing tire. This is a freshie, just brand new tire. Awesome tire, absolutely loved it. My concern again, other than the gas tank, was getting flats. I got a flat one day, tried to change the tire myself, and I ended up breaking the little metal strings that hold the rim to the tire, and my tire actually came off on me. I broke that trying to change the tube, took it to a dirt bike mechanic. He swapped it out, warned me about that, said I got to be careful overinflating it because it could be dangerous. I didn't overinflate it. One day I was riding toward the end of my ride, I felt like I had a flat tire, and I looked, and my whole tire had come off the rim. And so that was from this. As you can see, plenty of tread left, man. Such an unnecessary freshie. But I guess it was good for the video because you guys can see this tire. It's a really good tire, man. I've 30 hours on this. You can see it's not even worn yet. Sadly, you know, I learned the hard way. But next, I'm going to be running mooses. So that's kind of like my next deal, is to throw some mooses in there. But these tires, no complaints so far. This is the stock front tire. As you can see how it's wearing. Pretty good. I haven't had to change a tube on that or anything yet, which is nice. But yeah, another thing I need to add is a rear disc guard. I know I need to jump on that. I might actually order that this week. 30 hours later, I haven't really had any issues, but I do not want to find out, so I want to get that. And then probably just some swing arm guards. That's pretty much it in terms of protection. Stock pipe. I'm not running a spark arrestor or anything yet. Another issue people are having is splooge. So I don't have a crazy amount of splooge coming out of this thing. Again, just setting your idle, you'll be fine. But everything so far is good in terms of that. Yeah, man. Yeah, so another thing I want to talk about is the brakes. People say that these Brake Tech brakes feel spongy and they don't like them and all this stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I had Brembos on my KTM, and there is a difference, but I don't think these are bad at all. If anything, I felt like my Brembos were spongy, and these are actually more touchy. Again, I'm a beginner rider. I literally just upgraded my boots. Up until I upgraded my boots, which got here yesterday, I haven't even ridden them with them. I literally just jumped on the bike, and I couldn't even feel my back brake. I was just hoping my big O'Neill Elements were on the brake and I would press it, and the way I knew is I would move my foot forward and then like I'd start sliding or braking, and that's how I knew my foot was on it. With my new Tech 7 Enduros, I can actually feel the brake, so that's going to be a game changer for me. But regardless, I didn't feel a difference because I wore those same boots on my KTM with the Brembo. I thought the braking felt fine. I feel like this braking feels fine as well. Again, it's probably just a lack of experience, but I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's a big deal breaker or anything like that. One thing I do want to add is probably metal bar ends, just to, you know, for when you drop the bike or put the bike down. But other than that, 10 hours first oil change. About to do another oil change here. Just filling up the 2-stroke oil in there. Yeah, man, like, again, this bike has been awesome. I wish I would have gotten this bike right off the bat, but man, I have absolutely loved this. The 250 is a perfect amount of power. Again, does everything I need it to do. I feel confident. Yeah, I feel confident on this bike. I know that it's going to get me up anything that I want it to. It might take me a time or two, but for the most part, I'm doing stuff on the first try. Super nice. Again, more than anything, I'm 5'6", 150. Getting this Husky was probably the best choice in terms of like actually just longevity, right? Like I loved riding that KTM. It was just so big, and I'm like, man, this kind of sucks, man. I wish I was like bigger or taller. Like this is made for tall people. Getting on this Husky, man, like I fell in love with dirt bikes on that KTM, but this just completely changed my world in terms of like how maneuverable it was, the light it was. Again, I came from mountain biking. Mountain biking made me want to get a dirt bike, and just the power on the two-stroke, just a whole lot harder to stall on technical stuff, slow stuff, plenty of power. I could go a lot slower and just lug up things without worrying about stalling out. And then again, just the confidence factor in terms of being able to touch. This again already comes stock a little bit lower than KTM's and other bikes, which was awesome. I am running the stock seat height, guys. On my KTM, I shaved the crap out of the seat, and I still was like, it was still super tall. This, I'm keeping the stock seat height, and I feel great and I feel confident. I haven't even set the sag yet. So once I set the sag, I'm gonna be pretty freaking dialed. If anything, once they come out with a low seat, I'm probably gonna get that, but I want to definitely keep the stock seat. The stock seat looks really good. I love the color. I love the grip on it. I get tons of compliments by other riders saying that this whole thing, just in general, completely stock, is an awesome bike and it looks great. It already comes with great stuff. Again, if I were you guys, I'd recommend saving those OEM plastics because they look so good, and just getting the graphic stuff replaced. This stuff, it's all no graphics on it. You can replace it easy. And again, this is 2024, so not many parts are out yet. I believe this shrouds might be off of like the TX300. I'm not sure, but they did fit my bike and they look stock. I love the gray look too, by the way, so I got a win-win. I get my OEM white graphics that are just so clean, and I get to keep that classic look while still having like a gray, sweet looking bike. The gray with the yellow, white, the navy blue. It looks super clean. The frame, it is blue, so it looks super nice there. Going back to the seat part, once, you know, it's a 2024, it came out end of last year. Once they come out with more parts, more seats, and they come out with a low seat that's actually more than half an inch shorter, I will probably buy that right away, because I ordered the Husqvarna factory low seat and it was barely lower. I couldn't even really notice the difference. So I was like, screw this. The seat actually looked different. It looked a little cheaper in my personal opinion. So I swapped back to the factory seat. I ended up sending it back. So anyways, this is a quick overview. I know I rambled a lot, but this is probably the video that you were looking for. You're probably in the market and you haven't found any videos. So take my word for it. This bike, the 250, is a great bike. Depending whatever level it is, if you're a beginner rider looking into getting a dirt bike, I recommend you jump on a Husky straight away. That's probably the best bike you can jump on, especially a bike that you can have for years to come. You can learn and grow on. I would just jump straight onto a two-stroke. Probably a 250, maybe a 150, but honestly, definitely a 250. I don't think you would need a 300. My buddy who got me into riding had never ridden dirt bikes and he jumped straight onto a 300. Again, 250, it takes me up everything I need to take me up. It lugs up everything. It's a good, reliable bike. So far, 30 hours on it. I would recommend this bike to anyone. Again, it changed my whole view and just feel for dirt biking, just from how smaller this is, how lightweight it is, the height, and honestly, it's a great freaking bike. You see, you know, the Billy Bolt and all the crazy enduro riders on Husqvarnas. They're great bikes, so definitely check it out. You really don't need to do anything to it other than, you know, the protection parts. Right away, I'd get a linkage guard if I were you guys. Front disc guard for sure. Fork shoes optional, you know, the plastics optional. But yeah, guys. Anyways, I know you guys just heard me ramble for a long time, and this was a different sort of video. Again, tech and lifestyle on this channel. This is part of my lifestyle, part of my active lifestyle. Again, mixing it with technology. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this type of video or you're interested in tech and just active lifestyle in general, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, guys. More videos to come. Catch you guys in the next one.